All right, here we go. TSU project. I'm recording my grandmother, and not gonna put her on the camera. You ready?
Yeah, ready.
Sorry. Okay. Where and when were you born?
August 26, 1932.
Okay. How did your family get to Texas?
They grew up in Texas. They were born in Texas.
Okay.
They were all born in Texas.
And where were they before Texas?
They were born in Texas.
Oh, so okay.
They were all born in Texas,
Okay.
in Jackson County.
What do you remember about your childhood?
My childhood wasn't bad. I thought my childhood was real nice. We did it. My mother was president of the PTA at my school, and we were in all sorts of activities. Anything that happened, I played basketball. I ran track.
Did you really?
Yes,
I didn't know
did. Yes, I did. And we sang in the chorus.
Oh, okay.
And we were just involved in just about everything that the school participated in. I started my schooling in a one-room schoolhouse. And from 1 to, was all for colored school. Went from first grade to 6 or 7, I think. And we had one teacher for all those different grades.
Oh,
Miss
wow.
Norma Sales.
Oh, wow, you still remember her name. Were you there all the whole grades?
She was.
And she was your teacher for from
Yeah,
kindergarten all the way
for
to...
all of it, for all of us.
Oh, wow. So you had the same teacher every year?
The same teacher every year until 6th grade. And then we had to go to another school.
Oh, wow. And that school was colored only?
It was all colored. It was all colored. We had segregated schools until I finished.
Oh, wow. What kind of interaction did you have with people that was not of your racial background? So people who weren't black?
We didn't have any action with them. We were in our separate communities and separate schools, and they were in their communities and separate schools. The only contact we were coming with, we'd go shopping in the stores. They owned all the businesses. And that's when we would contact with them.
What notable moment in American history sticks out in your memory the most?
In American history?
Mm-hmm.
Integration.
Integration for real? Like what?
Like the way the people were handling it. They would act as if everything was just going to be perfect and things weren't going to be like they were before. And I didn't think so, which it turned out that it didn't. It wasn't. Where we are now, we're still working on it.
I think so too.
But you don't know where we were before.
I don't.
You have no experience with it. You can't even envision it. You know?
Wow. Well, were you in Texas or California when they integrated?
California.
Okay, so was it crazy
60s.
out there too?
It was in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
No, California. That's why we left. That's why I was in California. No, California was different.
Okay.
No, California had been segregated, I guess, I don't know, but they were integrated. I didn't have any problems in California. I went and got jobs and went to schools, and the schools were all integrated. No, California, that's why we went to California.
Okay, and you went to Texas Southern your first year of college. Why did you choose TSU?
Well, no other schools, except TSU and Prairie View for blacks.
Oh, for real?
Here in Texas, there were no other schools.
And I know your older sister went when it was
for California.
It was Texas State's College for Negroes.
But before that, it was only Prairie View here in Texas.
Before Texas Southern, it was only Prairie View?
I didn't know of any other college, that was here in Texas. There were other black colleges, but we're talking about here in Texas where everybody went to school. It was always I guess they were. Yeah, maybe if there were other colleges, we didn't know. We didn't go to them. Just Prairie View, and even my principals and everybody went to Prairie View. Prairie View and Texas Southern. That's just why everybody went to Texas Southern.
Mm-hmm. And
then our organization where we are now, it's made up of all retired teachers here in Houston, and they all went to Texas. Prairie View.
You have to work to pay for your school?
I didn't have to work. My father paid for it. My parents paid for the schooling.
So your parents saved up money for you
to go to school? They were able to do that, sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of...
and then I worked, because I went to live with my cousins here in Houston. They owned a service station, a gas station. Service station, a drugstore. And I went and lived with them, and then I worked after school. I didn't even go in the house. I would just go into and work, and my cousin would leave, and I would relieve her, and then I'd work until we closed. And then I'd go in and study.
Oh wow,
So I worked.
that's a good
I've
little.
been working ever since.
And education runs deep in our family.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So, because I remember when I was little, I was always saying I would never be a teacher. I would never work with kids. And somehow, I ended up working with children in education. Both of my parents are teachers. My grandfather's sisters were all teachers. 7 of them.
Your grandfather's, your great-grandfather, your grandfather's sisters were all teachers, and his brothers, except him.
He was the only one who
There
never
was 7
became a
kids,
teacher.
and he was the only kid that
That didn't teach. And then your dad
was a teacher.
was a teacher, and he built the school.
Built the school. My
In,
dad was
what part of Texas?
Edna. He was down in Edna.
Edna, Texas. He built the school in Edna, Texas.
He
And
built the
taught.
school, and then he became a store. He owned a store.
He owned a store and a school. And I remember you told me a story about when they tried to give him a literacy test to vote.
Yes,
And what happened?
he told that was a young man about 21 years old. Decided they was going to give him a test, and he said, "Listen, I have more education than anybody in this town."
And he told
So
that to a white man.
Yes, he did. And they told him, "Just pay your dollar pro tax and go ahead and vote."
And,
that's what he did
you and
all
your
the
mother
time.
both. I mean,
They both did.
your dad and your mom both
They
voted.
voted. They only paid the dollar
Mhm.
pro tax and went
Mhm.
ahead. But there was never any problem with voting.
And then his dad was a slave.
His dad was a slave, as far as I know. I didn't know. See, my father was 27 years older than my mother. So I didn't.
What? I didn't know that.
That's right. So anyway, I guess we assume, but we can't find out if they were slaves. I guess they were slaves.
Mm-hmm. But your uncle was a slave for sure.
But someone told us that they were born and went somewhere else, and they couldn't ever find out if they were slaves. So we didn't listen to my aunts talking. You know, like my cousin and I said we should have paid more attention. She was telling us the history of the
Mm-hmm.
family, but we didn't pay too much attention to her being so young. So.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as I know, we had pictures of my grandparents, my father's parents in the house, and then beautiful pictures in large frames, but I don't know anything about them being slaves.
Mm-hmm. Who was the one that cut off all that land?
That was my father's uncle, which is my
Oh, your
great
father's uncle, your
great
great uncle.
He was a slave, and he was a cattle herder. You know, when they herd cattle from one city to
Mm-hmm.
another, one state to another. And at that time, they said you could own anything as much. They call it fencing.
Mm-hmm.
If you whatever you fenced off, you can own. And he fenced off 1,300 acres.
Mm.
And now the family still lives in West Texas, and there's a city in West Texas, in Mitchell, Texas, named that, where they own everything there.
So it's safe to say in our family that all that stuff been passed down when somebody takes care of the next person. Like your dad paid for your college, like you helped my dad when he went to Nevada, and then how my dad is helping me
That's
while
right.
I'm out here.
This is how we did it.
It's generations all the way down.
That's
And then it's crazy because now I work with kids, and then Kai works at a park with kids. Kai is my sister. She works at a park with kids, and my dad still teaches in Compton, and so education is just. And then you got your master's, and my dad has his master's, and it's a generation thing. It's passed down. Do you think historically black colleges are important?
I think so.
Why do you think they're important?
You know, I went to Texas Southern, and we just thought that was the best college. Of course, that's the only college that we knew at the time. Then when I got to California, things were so different. It was cool, and Southerners are friendly people.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. Even all the races are friendlier than those in California. So I kind of became distant like everybody else, and I have kind of trouble with it. People think that I'm distant, and I'm not, because I was in California for 51 years, and I became a Californian.
Yeah.
I was in California longer than I was in Texas, and now I'm back here.
That's kind of how I was when I went to UH. Like, I don't know, I didn't fit in, but then when I went to a HBC, I feel a lot better at Texas Southern than I did when I went to University of Houston.
I felt real good at Texas Southern, because it was.
What was the campus like?
The campus, everybody. I just thought that it was just the best that anybody. Because I was from a small town, and I came to Texas Southern, and it was everybody was so important there. The teachers were important, the two students were important, and they dressed nice, and you really had a cool time. But what make a salary here.
Oh yeah.
Now I was working at I got a job and I'm working like $25 a week. It paid the rent because the rent was only like $15 a week, and we were renting in a house where other people lived, and we only had to pay like $4. So when we went to California, I was making $25 a week, and I went to California and got a job making $125.
Oh, excuse
So that
me.
was the difference. That was the reason, because what happened, we had a lot of relatives in California. My mother's and brothers and cousins, and it was about 50 of us, my mother's folks in California, so they thought we should go there for a better life. And this is what we did, and it was a better life.
I actually find it crazy that your daughter Margaret, my aunt, went to Texas Southern. You went to Texas Southern, and somehow me being born and raised in California,
Then here you are.
and going to Texas Southern, and I would have never. I told myself I would never go to TSU, and I was living in California. Somehow I got up, came to Texas, went to 2 different schools, and somehow ended up at Texas Southern.
But see, you have to learn for yourself. What you want to do. You have to see. You can't listen to what people say. Well, I don't think I want to go there, but you have to find out for yourself what you like in life. So you're making your way in life, and you'll find out your likes and dislikes.
So last question. What memories at Texas Southern stick out the most?
The memories at Texas Southern stick out the most. There was 4 of us. We call ourselves the Fearsome Foursome.
The Fearsome Foursome. Yes, Fearsome Foursome.
One of my friends was named Helen McClendon, and one was Grace, and the other was Perlice, and myself. There was 4 of us. We would study together, and a lot of times we studied together. When we finished studying, we just would have card games. We played cards or whatever. But anyway, Helen said she went into her instructor's room, and she said, I like him. And then one day she said, I'm going to marry him. Do you know she did?
She got married to her professor?
She got married to her professor, Dr. Jones. I looked in the paper, and that was, I came back here, after I moved to California, I came back on a trip, and I looked in the paper, and it says, Helen McClendon, and they had the picture of the, that was really something, because I said, you were crazy. She said, oh yeah, I'm going to marry him.
Oh,
and we had just, and every time she'd see him, he'd hit me and touch me. Those were really fun days.
Aww.
So that was my best memory of Texas Southern, other than the fact that I thought it was the best university in the world, because that's the only one that I knew.
It is the best university in the world.
I really liked it. Coming from a small town like I did, and going to Texas Southern, and everybody I thought was sophisticated and so different from the small town that I had come from.
Oh wow, TSU sounds. I seen some of y'all's pictures in the yearbook. They still have those yearbooks.
How far back do they go?
They go back real far. Like the most furthest one I've looked up was 46, because I was looking for you in 47 and 48.
Oh really?
Yeah,
You didn't, no, I don't know.
It goes all the way back. Did you know anybody in any sororities or fraternities?
I don't know if Clara Terry. That was one of the presidents of Texas Southern, Dr. Terry. You remember that wedding we went to?
Yes.
That was his great-grandson.
Oh, for real?
Who married. He was at once the president of Texas Southern.
Oh, TSU just runs through the family.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed.
Oh, wow. That makes me more proud to be a Tiger. Yeah, I like going to TSU. I can't believe I'm here. It's crazy. And then so many people went. Zan went, you went, your sister went.
I didn't know I would be back here either.
My aunt went. Honestly, if you didn't come back, I probably would have never moved to Texas. Did you live on campus at TSU?
No, I didn't have to, because I was with my cousin right down the street there.
Yeah, you did say that. So you live in Third Ward.
Right there. They were living on Holman and Sawyer. They were right down the street there from Texas.
I feel like I know where Holman is, but I don't know if I know where Solomon is.
Oh, Sawyer, just a little street that ran into Holman.
Oh, okay.
That's all it is. Holman runs into Scott.
Okay.
So I know you know where that is.
Yes.
Well, anyway, I was Holman and Sawyer, and right down the street, because when it would snow, and mostly it wasn't a lot of snow, but it was a lot of icicles, a lot of ice, and streets would be so slippery, we had to walk tracks in between the railroad tracks,
Wow.
to get to school to keep from slipping down, so we didn't have far to walk.
What did you actually study when you went to TSU? I forgot to ask.
I went in as business management. That's what I started at. I started in business management, and then I changed majors so many times.
And then what did you end up with?
I ended up with really business management because that's what I worked in.
How many majors did you have?
Oh, I don't know. I had secretarial, at that time we had secretarial of science and 2 or 3 things, supervision. And I'm glad I took it because I became a supervisor, and I didn't know I was going to do that.
You're the reason why I've been changing my major so much. I changed my major. This is my last major. This is my last one.
Well, you keep changing them.
But I'm learning a lot.
But you learn a lot from the past majors that you selected.
That is, I can attest to that. Yes. I think I asked you all the... Okay, one more, final one. What advice would you give the young people today?
Honey, please get an education.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's the most important thing that you can have.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're married and stay married or not, but get an education because technology is just taking over, and finish high school and go on to college.
Do you think history is important?
History,
like family history in general, history about a people.
I'm the historian of the family, and we have the books that were written about the family. That's all we have left. And most of the people who produced those books, the historians of those books, are all dead. And I tell everybody, we don't have anything else except us. I'm the last generation. You guys are coming on. You got you, and you got Roy and his kids, so you got your kids, and now the generations. I'm great-grandmother. So the generations have to take over. But if you don't leave something for... That's why I had the book reproduced and redone. It's in plastic.
Well, I didn't really... Something. I don't know if you know this, but when I was living in California when I was little, my dad, whenever I asked him to tell me a story to go to bed, he wouldn't tell me Cinderella or any princess story. He always told me about the Underground Railroad or Booker T. Washington or like slaves and the difference between what they, like the secret messages they would send. He would always talk about Black history to get me to go to sleep. And that's why I started liking history so much.
That's good. That's good. It's good to know. But a lot of kids don't want to hear that. I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't here, and I don't know, what you're talking about. Because
that's not appreciation.
But you need family history. You need to know about your family.
And if I didn't know about teaching and stuff, I would have never... I don't know, I probably would have still taught. But it makes sense now that I know that it's just generations, years and years of teaching.
Look, I had so many teachers in the family when I was growing up until... It makes your childhood is different when you got all these educators around you.
What do you think? What do you mean it's different?
It's different because you think different. You think, well, I want to be something too. So these are role models for you. You got the role models right in your house.
Yeah.
So your kids ain't got no business going anywhere. You got even your stepmother has an education.
She sure does.
Yes, she does.
My mom does too. She has her master's.
Well, I know your mom has a master's. But your mom and dad has it, but then your stepmother has it.
Terrell has her degree.
So what am I supposed to do?
It gets passed down, and we're all working with kids. All of us are working with kids.
When I was growing up, there was 8 teachers that would come to my house in that family. All cousins and aunts and all those folks. And then my dad was, and all 3 of his sisters. And everybody had proper etiquette. When you sit at the table, you had to do that right. When you sit there and eat, you had to do that right. So all of those things, you don't forget. You sort of pass it on down, know.
So the teachers of my grandfather were in Alabama, right? And knowing that the salary were still small, what makes you think they still wanted to teach, even though their salaries weren't as great?
The best job they could get. Because it wasn't integrated, and they couldn't work another job, but they could teach the black kids in the school.
So you think they did it for the passion, or you just think they just did
That's
it?
for a job. They did
just for a job?
That was a top job for them.
Oh, top job?
But
being a teacher?
But after that, with the service, you found out they weren't making any money. But they thought they were making money. And they did well with it. They bought homes,
and they grew up outside of Birmingham.
Yeah, they grew up in Fairfield.
Ooh, so I know their segregation stories are probably just out of this world.
Oh, well, yeah.
I remember my Uncle Dickie, your son, was telling me about how he was trying to march with Martin Luther King one time, and he said he got chased outside of a football field by like a mob of white boys.
That was in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Probably in San Antonio. I marched in California.
You marched for civil rights in
Oh,
California?
sure.
Oh, wow. Do you remember what year?
I guess it was in the 60s. I know it was in the 60s. Yeah, because, of course I know.
Yeah, well, the Civil Rights Act of 1965,
Yeah,
and then the Voting Rights Act of, Civil
64,
Rights of 64, and then
65.
voting was 65.
Uh-huh.
And then Lyndon B. Johnson.
But
Where were you when Kennedy died?
Oh, girl, I was taking care at home that day, taking care of Pam. Pam was 3 years old. He died at 63. Pam was 2 years old. I was living with Joni and her husband, and they was 60. It was 63, wasn't it? Yeah. I was over at Joni's house taking care of Pam because I was going to school at night. And she was going to school in the day, and I was going at night, and I was taking care of Pam.
Mm-hmm.
And when we had the radio on,
Mm-hmm.
and then my cousins and things started calling.
About Kennedy passing.
It was unbelievable.
Auntie Joni put her son through school too.
Her daughter.
Her daughter through school.
Yeah, her daughter to school.
And her grandson too?
Well, her mother's put in the parent. Well, she's helping with them.
See, it's just been passed down, and we're just
She's
gonna
helping.
keep
She's definitely
putting
helping
our
with
family
them.
through school.
She's definitely helping with them a lot. And I told her, you don't close your purse on the grandkids. I said, you keep your purse open when you have children. You don't close it up on the grandkids, and you go on down. As long as you're living, you go on down to other generations.
I am very inspired by my family now.
Well, you should be.
I am. I'm
They're all
going to
li-
keep the education rolling.
Well, you will.
I know I will. I'm doing good in school.
Oh, you're doing fine. You're doing great. I wouldn't be willing to help you if you weren't.
Oh my God.
No, I'm here to. I don't want to see you go up and not down.
Mm-hmm.
That's just as long as I see you doing well, honey. I'm really doing my best to help.
Aww. I appreciate you helping me out for my project. This is, I gotta turn this in.
Okay. All right.
You wanna wave to the camera?
No.
No, why? You look fine.
I'm sitting up here.
No. Okay, there she goes.
Goodbye.
Okay, just to prove that you were here.
Oh, okay.
All right, love you. Thank you.
Love you.